So I haven't uploaded a video since I've been back from my 3 weeks away. And I wanted to try to make videos while I was gone, but people tend to be a little incompetent. So because of that, nothing came out of it. But games were indeed played while I was gone. Azuri Striker Gunvolt 3 and Super Mario Bowser's Fury. And obviously, only one is going to be talked about in this video. If you read the title, that should be plain as day. So Bowser's Fury starts up similar to 3D World, but with only Mario, and a familiar logo from a beloved Mario game shows up as Mario makes haste and tracks it down, following the trail of black inky stuff on the ground, only to get isekai'd into the abyss that is anime and proceeds to fall on his face in a Sonic and Super Mario Odyssey fashion. The atmosphere is dreary and rainy. It's dark and brooding up until the point when, bam, out of nowhere, probably the new best design and dignifying look for a menacing Bowser just starts going batshit insane, pure chaos all around, and some starlight makes his eyes hurt, so he runs off like a little bitch. Well, pack it up, fellas. We've saved the day, and nope. Life's never that easy. Remember, Mario is a male, and we all know that he can't have a thriving, successful OnlyFans. But Peach can, because she's a female.
These females are not living on recruit difficulty.
So being up top of the lighthouse, from a distance, we can see Bowser Jr. in a panic, and he has no one but Mario to ask for aid. And every now and then, Bowser Jr. will have something to say to Mario, but in reality, Mario just looks so uninterested, like he couldn't give a damn. He's been to too many wrong castles to want to help out. But regardless, Mario helps out in the end because he is a true gentleman. But for the TLDRs, basically, Bowser got inked to be a BBK, and for some reason, Bowser Jr. sees this as a bad thing. And I gotta really say here, what a failure of a villain and a failure of a father Bowser is. Bowser had all that power to take anything over, anything that he wanted, and Bowser Jr.'s like, I want my dad back, Mario. You know, maybe women were right about this Wade versus Roe thing, whatever that's about. But besides all that, the story is basic for what the rest of the game ultimately is. A fun, fresh collectathon using the gameplay of 3D World and a hint of Super Mario Odyssey. Frankly, I think that's what made me finish this game. Meanwhile, I can barely think to play the 3D World portion of it. The world of Bowser's Fury is pretty small with most of the map. Yes, ladies and gentlemen, there is indeed a map, but makes the map feel small, being that it's mostly water surrounding a few islands. But at first glance, you'd think, how could this game have multiple biomes if it's all water? Well, considering I only got the game's 50 stars needed to beat the game, I can only speak from that perspective, so I don't really know if they added more post-game stuff, but more on that later. And I can only say that from the small tidbits of the classic Mario biomes, you will see them in the island from time to time, but not too much in full details. I mean, it is mostly just water, like a vacation scenery. But that alone makes me want this DLC for a side story of a Mario game that should have been sold for DLC price, but like separately have more, which when saying it out loud definitely sounds weird to me. But I will say the most you'll get out of the islands is either one long stretch of floating lands or a tall obstacle course to climb. Now that I think about it, so that's where Sonic Frontiers was copying off of. God damn it, Sega, like, try to be original for once and stop reusing Green Hill, Jesus Christ. So just like the Kirby series spin-offs, this game gives me high hopes for another game in this form. Just imagining how if 3D World could have been in this style and format originally makes me believe I'd feel more inclined to play it. Especially where the 3D Land style of the 3DS worked for the 3DS, but 3D World I feel deserved more than what we originally got. Overall, each area you visit has its open linear path that usually consists of you going up and down, and some running in circles to collect star coins, collectibles, maybe do side mission type of things, and maybe even coming back even later after you've gone further into the game and recollecting more stars that were locked away or hidden from you. But I still see it as a great start to something that could potentially happen in the future, and hopefully still have this new fresh coat of paint to it, no pun intended. Outside of those nitpicks, the great things of the games that felt new to see from a 3D world avoider was the turtle shell spin, where in Mario 64, you surf the shell. In this game, you are the shell, though temporary and retains the surfing above the water mechanic, but for the most part, you have Plessy to help you get from island to island. And even if you find yourself a little too far from land, Plessy will always come out of nowhere just to help you out. The dive roll makes a reappearance coming straight from Odyssey, even though I don't know if the original 3D world had this, but it might have been nerfed. But if you're really good with real tight platforming and precision and button presses, it makes the platforming feel like it's been fleshed out and brings a lot more possibilities of what you can do. But the main staple that everyone flipped out on the Nintendo Direct for, Super Saiyan Mario. This right here was the best badass Mario moment in history. Sure, he's still a cat, but to everyone around him, he's that light in the darkness, the warm glow to evaporate the inky raindrops. He is a super cat, and he's here to scratch the living hell out of a big black turtle. So just like in the Direct, with Giga Cat Mario, you'll fight toe-to-toe with Bowser, and these fights were great no matter what form Mario takes. It's something straight out of a Godzilla film, but Mario just yahoos his way in. As awesome and as golden as Mario is here, he is still vulnerable to Bowser's attack. But nothing feels better than taking one of Bowser's spikes and yeeting it at him, just to ground pound him back to the middle of the map again. The whole premise of being on the same playing field was a freaky fresh way to fight Mario's arch nemesis, and definitely an enjoyable one. The gameplay for this game is definitely an upgrade, and even when the cat bell isn't fully ready, there's still things to do, opportunities to take, and sometimes when Bowser is present, rainy dark weather and all, and Mario isn't a Giga Cat and can't be a Giga Cat because you don't have enough stars, you'll see these glowing bricks, and with the logo on it, only Bowser is able to break them. But the risky nature is worth the price. Though at times it did get annoying, knowing Bowser would hurt his eyes from the lighthouse's shine as soon as you got the same star that was trapped behind the bricks, which I saw as a flaw since I don't think you can summon him all willy-nilly. But the further you go into the game, he does eventually say, "Fuck that light, I brought some shade with me," and becomes immune to the shine. And not to forget mentioning how slowly menacing the music for this new iteration of Bowser gets as you gradually come to an end. And I dare say it probably tops Ultimate Bowser from Super Mario 64's final fight. And that one's just a cult classic. So beyond this point, I have to say, this part of the video, I will be talking about the ending, but since we all know how Mario games typically end, you're not really being spoiled by much. But yeah, spoilers in 3, 2, 1. So around the end part of the game was pure insanity, and with the additions of the pocketed upgrades, which you can hold 5 of each type of power-ups that I failed to mention earlier, at first you think you're underusing most of them for the cat suit in the beginning of the game, but at this point in the game, you're at the mercy of the enemy, the final foe, and all those unused power-ups run dry quick as hell with each hit that you're going to receive. You'd have to be a madman not to utilize them, and especially if you're going as regular Mario, hell, even just small Mario, small no-cap Mario. Hectic atmosphere leading to the wild climax of the game felt really good to go through, and Plessy was really the real MVP for helping Mario get through all of this. And though I feel the inky dark Bowser look should have stayed for the last 3 hits, I don't mind it much for making him return to semi-normal, but the whole point of the game was to uncorrupt Bowser Jr.'s father, so him being normal again didn't seem to make sense to me when you think he come to his senses and see his son desperately chasing his father. I can relate to that, man. Oh yeah, and the child I neglected to talk about up until this point, Bowser Jr. He's honestly just here for the story. Completely useless, but you can adjust his helpfulness in the menu or have a friend control him if you have friends. He does come in handy for the question marks on the walls for different power-ups or secret pipes, or if you're being too lazy to defeat enemies, collecting star coins from a distance, but he's just mainly for the story purposes. Even if his reason goes against the villainy his father seems to be failing to teach him, Super Mario Bowser's Fury is a holy grail to what 3D Mario could be. But knowing Nintendo, or worse, Miyamoto, they might not ever do this format again. I say this just to not get my hopes up, unless proven wrong. Which is a pretty sad point I feel that we're at as far as Nintendo expectation goes. But that didn't stop me from enjoying and continuing to enjoy this title. And since the end screen had a dark inky postcard like end screen, you already know there's gonna be another postcard if you collect every star, which I think I'll do. But before I go, I do want to mention how crappy Nintendo is for making people pay $60 for what should have been at most a $30 to $40 standalone full 3D Mario game. Yep, that's all I had to say about that, to be honest. I just feel they could have sold this as a package deal or separately, and maybe that would benefit them more, especially for those that get confused and would have just bought both versions of the game in the end, similar to how Pokemon continues to sell two of the same game versions for some reason. I mean, like, hire me for some business decision, Nintendo's. Like, I got a few pointers. Other than that, give this game a try if you can. And until next time, enjoy the summer. Oh, right. School. Well, I guess it sucks to suck, and it sucks to be a Zoomer right now. Peace out. So I haven't uploaded a village. Wow, I'm that rusty. Holy shit. So I haven't, hold on, get this keyboard shit off me. Maybe that's it. It has to be. All right, substrate, speak. So I haven't, and he's here to scratch the living hell out of a big black. Oh, why can't I say that? And he's here to scratch the living hell out of... wow, that's a tongue twister. Well, at least for me it is. And he's here to scratch the living hell out of a big black turtle. Maybe it's because I know the innuendo, which is why it's telling me to stop.